Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crisis169 coming to you live. Power Spectrum Internet. I'm YouTube. I'm here. You're there. Let's get on to it now. Today's video is another question and answer. I've been asked about AM4. Should I upgrade to AM5 or stay on AM4, and what uplifts are out there? Uplifts are out there. And talking about the uplifts with the processor wise. So AM4 processors are still out there and kicking. You also do know that certain AM4, like 5500X3D, is coming out. You may also know, I'm checking for any more messages. Um, you also do know too as well that the 5800X3D may make a comeback. It may be reproduced, it may not be reproduced, so I don't know for sure exactly until we get an idea. If it comes out anytime soon, it'll probably be within the next quarter, this quarter, next quarter, a few quarters from now. If it's even going to be announced at all. It was announced at the ECS, uh, CES, what do you call it, show. That was talked about a little bit, but not anything 100% concrete just yet. They told the idea, but this came from a person I'm going to call W. Um, asked the question. Very simple question, very easy question to ask. Asked me, and I wrote down in comments here. And the title, I've been asked about AM4, AMD AM4. Should I upgrade AM5 or stay on AM4? And so what uplifts are out there? And I only have two processors from AM4. Um, Obviously, I started with the 5600X AM5, 6 core, 12 threads. And I'm currently rocking right now, not because I have tons of money or anything, because I got it for Christmas years ago, 5800X 3D. This here is pinnacle of AM4. This is, I wouldn't call it God tier the God tier of processor AM4, but this is what all AM4 processors achieve to be. The end all be all of AM4 existence. This here has 8 cores. Now it has 8 cores, 16 threads. This has 6 core, 12 threads. Well, also with built-in cooler, stock cooler. You know, it's pretty cool. I have to have a stock cooler. You can get that a lot with a lot of those. Some of those, but this one didn't, and it was good. It was good. It's like stock coolers you get with the Intel. They're good enough to keep it cool and running normally. This bad boy needed a cooler, and I had a tower cooler, and I got an AIO for it. Works perfectly great. This one cost about $450 when it came out. Still costs $400 so far. This you could probably get for maybe $100 less than that. If you're still on AM4 because you're, like me, you started in 2020. It's been 6 years now. We're still on AM4. Finding this will be almost impossible 1500X 3D without spending $600 or more. At that point in time, you go ahead and just buy DDR5 and just go spin the wheel, make the deal when it comes to your DDR5 RAM prices. But if you're on AM4, and this is only for AM4, if you're only on AM4, if you're brand new, do not go to AM4 because it's not. I'm not saying it's not feasible or viable. You might get a 5600 X. You might like it for a couple years, stock cooler and all, pretty cool, and you might enjoy it. But it may last, let's say, 2 years, 24 months, or 48. That's 3 years. The longevity is, 48 is 4 years. Sorry, 36 is 3 years. Sorry. It may last, 36 months. Is that enough time for a brand new build? No. No. Now, if you're going from a 1700 X AM4 and you find a 3600X, great uplift. If you're going from 1700X to a 5600X, grassly bigger, but also you got to check your BIOS too, and stuff like that. Make sure your motherboard can support it. Because some motherboards out there say they support certain things, but they're only stamped on the website and not on the packaging. Because sometimes it's it can kind of toss that way. The B550 board Tomahawk supports 5800X Ryzen 7 out of the box. You just go in and check the BIOS and you're good to go. Um, and that's good to go because it reads it. It's the only it's it was the only X3D until the 5600 X3D, the 5700 X3D, and now the 5500 X3D. If you can find a 5500 X3D for decent price, and you're still rocking AM4, all your AM4 people out there, comment down below. And and W who messaged me on my messenger. That's why I tell you guys if my first and last name are on Facebook, contact me on Messenger because I read my comments, but I always don't reply to all of them because I'm usually at work or laying in bed, just lounging around, sleeping, trying to get some sleep. I take subscribe sleep medication. So once I take them, I have maybe about 15, 20 minutes before I start going down. Um, and just subscribe, know that I have it 4 minutes, I'm good to go. And also don't worry about that. It's just I take about two of them when I gotta sleep because my mind constantly spinning. Uh, yeah, the 5500X3D. Um, it's not really new. It's new in a sense, but I think AMD is trying not to tick off, a lot of the AM4 people. And that's why I'm making this video because this person named W, who is actually not subscribed, he may subscribe. I know another one is 9850 X3D. That's supposed to be AM5 flagship. That's supposed to replace the 9 or be a upgrade. No, haven't heard that one yet. I haven't seen that one yet. Pentagram, like, that's made for Doom. Only works on Doom. You drop it in there, and a pentagram shows up, and now you might summon the cyber demon. Be careful. Uh, but all things kidding aside, though, you can find a decent 5600 X3D if you had a micro center around. I saw some on the marketplace, Facebook Marketplace for sale for about $100, but you can go buy a 5600X marketplace used or find one at different areas. I'm gonna check here for you guys real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up some stuff here because I like helping you guys out as much as I can. Um, Newegg here. I like bringing stuff up to you guys and type in 5600X and see what pops up. And the processors, there's a couple here, but 600X, it's core 12 threads, $136. There's 5600X, that's for $299 for some reason. Some meters are just showing the chip itself, may just have chip itself. 5600X, 5600X, $400. So some of these could be kind of expensive. 5700X 3D, see if it's still available or not. Still available, but $700. Newegg, 5800X 3D is available too as well. Once again, $700 or some of them. 10 for 443. That's how much it went for when it was brand new. 400. Then it goes 5800X T. That's 219. That's the newer one that came out That's I do believe the AM4 socket. So there's kind of variations of those right there. Um, oh, cool. No, I have not used the 9950. It just came out. I have AM4, and it's all AM5 stuff. But I've been watching a lot of YouTube about it, watching a lot of. I know Gamers Next is going to do something about it, as well as J2 Cent. They're going to be benchmarking eventually. I know Toasty Bros did something on it already. They compared the 9800X 3D to 9850, 9950, and the 998, whatever you call it, X3D. And it's like a minimal uplift. Not bad, but for like I think like $50 more or whatever it is. Of course, they got a 5090 on the thing too, so it's like that's balls of all crazy. My 5800X 3D will work well with a 5070 Ti and even a 5080. 90 might be pushing it. Um, yeah. See, I have two, 2 terabyte Samsung SSDs, external ones that I bought from one from Tronic Express and one from Best Buy when Best Buy had them. It's like $130. It was on sale for like $100 on the Tronic Express. I bought that one. I use them because I like them, but through Battlefield 6, I had to have the game put on an internal SSD because of the Javelin. So that's certain games are that way. So I'm trying to figure out what games I can do, but that's something totally different. But with the AM4 stuff, the uplift you'll get from going from one to the other can be, marginable or actually very good. If you're going from a 1700X to a 5600X, you're going to notice a difference. But I just showed you prices of 5600X, 5700X 3D, and 5800X 3D, and they're still expensive. They're still about about $300 to $700. Let's say $200 to $700. It's cheaper to go buy a 5800, 5050, no, a 5050X 3D or a 5800 XT. You can go to Best Buy and go in there and go, I want that one, and walk up to the front, purchase it, go home and have a warranty with it, then buy something that may be only in a little plastic thing. They may not have the whole box. It may not have the whole cooler that comes with it. And now 5600X might have that. I didn't see it on the pictures I was looking at. A new egg. That's for about 5060 Ti 16 gig from. I did a review on that down below, by the way. I'll watch that later on. Um, Paid off, yeah. I got my system built during the COVID pandemic. I started with 2060 and a 5600X. I started with this processor, 5600X, and 2060, went from 3070 with this to a 3070 with this to a 5060 Ti 16 gig with this, and haven't looked back since. People say, well, why do 5070? It cost about $800 at the time I bought my 5060 Ti 16 gig. And I wanted 16 gig. Yes, I know the bandwidth is slower and blah blah blah, but the VRAM. Everybody talking about VRAM these days. Uh, yeah. Well, that's good though. Really good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember 700K. A friend of mine talking about that years ago. He had one. Um, but I don't follow Intel much. I have a friend of mine who's in love with Intel. He is Intel crazy. The only thing he doesn't have is an Intel Arc. He tried one, it didn't work. So no, no. He went to Nvidia, then AMD, and then AMD for life for the GPUs. Processors he loves with Intel, and that's fine because it's whatever. But if you're gonna upgrade, mm, wow, now that's pretty high though for a processor. Anything around 4, I get about 45, maybe 50 on my 5800X 3D, but I have a AIO, and it quickly cools it down quickly, and that's what I like about it. But you know, W, if you're watching this, because I don't use people's names. I don't do it because sometimes I'll mention boxing's name or kill other people who I've known for years on this channel. But if you're a random messaging me, even from a channel, I'm not going to use your name because some people don't want their name out there, and that's cool. I was asked by a lot of people, no, use your name, just use their abbreviation, W or whatever, or I or S, and it's fine. Like I said, doesn't bother me. You guys answer questions on my messenger, my Facebook Messenger, and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. You message me on here, I may get to them faster, but you want to do a video about them, please message me on Messenger. It's easier for me to look at it, research, and compile information I need to. Because doing it on the fly on this, I got to do things on the fly. Where there, I can take a day or two to research. Do I have the processors? Look at the ask card. Do I have the keyboards? Do I have the graphics card? Do I have these things? Because if I don't have them, guys, I can't review them or I can't talk about them. Now I can pull stuff out of my rear end if you want me to. By all means, most YouTubers did that before, but I'm not most YouTubers. Well, I appreciate it there, N7K. I'm thinking about probably doing AM5 or something like that later on, and I may go to Intel eventually myself. But I don't know. I thought about AM5 eventually, but with this whole crisis with the uh, damn freaking RAM shortages, it's kind of hard to jump into it. And that's why people are asking me, should they stay? And yes, you should stay. If you're AM4, you're AM4 for life. No, I mean you stay AM4 until you can get to AM5 eventually. If you're brand new, go buy a Intel motherboard that supports AM4 and DDR4 and DDR5. Why? Once again, I said it again, say it all over again. I have a little bouncing ball. If I could say do that, I do that. The reason why you do that is because if you have Intel, and I think 1200 is actually one of the best processors you can get, the i5s. Um, that does is better. Well, once you have DDR4, DDR5 prices come down, you can switch over to DDR5 on the same board. You might probably change BIOS or whatever, update BIOS or whatever. And that's fine. That's easy. I talked to some people about it. I talked to Gamers Nexus, people like that on there. I messaged people, and they told me it's not difficult. Even a friend of mine who has a board that's DDR4, DDR5, it cost him about $300 something. Of course, he bought it when it was when prices were coming down a little bit, before all this big thing happened. You want to go that route if you build brand spanking new. You do DDR4 and Intel first. Then once prices go down, or AI bubble pops or explodes, but there's plenty of money and they can make RAM sticks again for DDR5, not costing $1,100. Best Buy, don't think I didn't see that 64 kit cost $1,100. You'll know the damn thing cost $200 9 months ago. 3 months ago, it cost $900, and now almost $1,200. Man, get the hell out of town with that nonsense. AM4 for life, DDR4 for life for me, because it's just cheap. But even DDR4 gets better too as well. So you gotta be careful. You don't get hosed. So if you're going DDR4, probably 32 gigabytes. If you're building brand new, this is a separate thing. If you're going DDR5, 16 gigabytes of RAM of dual channel. Reason being, price. If you can get slower RAM at 32 gigs, and it's low in cost effectiveness, if you're building brand new only, go for it. But if you're a DDR4 person and you're looking at the processors, you want to update your RAM, because DDR4 you got to stick with anyway. But make small adjustments, like the processors. The 5800X, 5600X are a little more expensive, obviously, because they're outdated. Now, the rumor mill is that they're going to be, like I said, the first part of the video is that they're going to be reproducing AMD was asked a question at the CS at ECS, and they kind of hinted, made the point, blah blah blah, that they may be chuck and jiving here, maybe when they're asked by one of the big boys, I call it Gamers Nexus, J2 Sense, people like this, the big boys. These guys are the big tech people, and that inspired me to get into reviewing and also tech. It's also outside people I know with outside business. My brother-in-law, my good friends who are tech people. So, um, is that if this happens, it's going to bring prices down, obviously, of some of the processors out there. But also, hopefully, if they can get the RAM sorted, DDR4 start back up again. Because a lot of these companies now are not throwing away all their DDR4 equipment. Because go DDR4, DDR5, it's whole new equipment, whole new building process. What I've been researching on in my short time, I've been doing researching on that kind of stuff, is that it requires more. And for those companies who didn't throw it away, and critical is being tossed aside and thrown in the garbage can. They're no longer making stuff. So if you got uh, critical Ram sticks, now you got some damn freaking trophy from a far died company to tell your grandkids one day, hey, look, grandkids, Ram sticks from 10 years ago. Ooh, wow, grandpa, Uh, what's clerical mean? A little tear in your eye and say, sit down there, son, I'm going to tell you a story. Kind of thing, about a company that made clerical that went belly up or got stopped producing because the company behind them wanted to, whatever. Point is, you guys, we all know the story. But RAM manufacturers stopped making DDR4 was not 100%. It's supposed to have been starting today. It was supposed to have been ending this year or beginning of last year. But because of RAM shortages, a lot of them are still going, we may make some more. And if that's the case, AMD is like, you know what? We make money off this by reproducing the AM4, processors. 5800X, 5700X 3D, 5500X 3D, and maybe even reproducing the 5600X 3D, and maybe even making a 3600X 3D, or reproducing 3600X. That could actually help with people who are upgrading, or maybe just saying, what, I'm gonna build a AM4 because I'm sick of this. I see here Intel, and I'm gonna buy AM4. I'm gonna buy budget build to get me started, and I'll upgrade my system later on. Okay, fine, whatever. That could help too as well because now people are not running towards the DDR5 anymore. Of course, it means the DDR5 processors, AM side, are sitting on the shelves not selling. See what I'm saying? It's a catch 22. They sell more AM4s, but they're 9850 X3D, they're brand new, spanking new. Hey, 5800, 5900 X3D here costs, well, what you're buying AM4? Okay. You know, and that's what they do practically. Now they're not going to drop 98 X3D. No, they're not going to do it, guys. Don't. Oh my God, Mark said this. Mark said some back. I said, Mom, they're going to do it. No, no, don't do that. What I'm saying is though, they're having to play a game of chess because the AI bubble has not burst. Some analysts saying it's deflated a little bit, but deflating don't mean bursting. It could be deflating meaning maybe the ground's like when it rains a lot and you step outside and you gotta let water splash in, all that mud shit on your shoes. Then the next day the ground's bone dry because all the water got absorbed. It could be that it's deflating because the market is stabilizing because the data centers are absorbing what they got and not calling for more right now. Right now, so that's why the bubble kind of deflated a little bit. In my mind, what I've been reading, what I've been watching, what I've been looking at things, that's what I've been thinking, been going on. Where that could be the issue, where it's deflating slowly because the AI data centers are not making as much money. Certain companies have had issues. Clerical, for example, the company that owns Clerical has lost money on data centers actually because they're not, they're pumping all this RAM into them, and there's no, and no, the money is no longer not coming in as fast enough. So when you go from 30, from making 30 million to making 30 billion to losing about $100 million, estimated these companies are losing per day, per week, whatever, it starts adding up real quick. So you start thinking, okay, well, maybe you should start creating DDR4 and to help supplement that cost. Now, granted, it's only gonna be a one-time purchase. You and I go buy it one time, that's it. But if you got like over, say, 20 million PC gamers, like over like 100 million PC gamers, let's say about 80% of them are DDR4, 20% are DDR5, and they're trying to upgrade the RAM, the processors, to whatever else they're trying to upgrade, the RAM processors mostly. That's that's 80%. That's millions and millions of dollars that would be a temporary band-aid or a plug that hole temporarily until the DDR5 bubble, AI bubble starts rising again. So I think it's just a temporary market shift going on. People are not buying anything right now because they can't afford it right now, especially electronics like this. Look at the Xbox, PlayStation went up to about $800 for just a pro or base model. The base model Xbox One is not no, it's not flying off the shelves anyway. I know how to f ourselves, says Microsoft. Let's just make it almost $800. Genius. With RAM sticks being $1,000, $1,100 for that one pack of RAM stick told you guys about. You could buy a 5080, just about a 5080 for about 12 to $1,300. If you have $1,100, you're literally a couple $100 away of grabbing a 5080 and going home with it instead of buying that DDR5 64 gigabyte, two sticks of DDR5 64 gigs of RAM. This is what people are literally going down to nowadays. So if you have AM4, you upgrade to see you have a low end like a 3600X. 5600X is no ain't being produced anymore. As well as the one I love too much, 5800X. I just don't use right now. X3D. I love this thing. I love how you use it. It's a great game processor, but it ain't being used because it didn't sell very well. I wouldn't wait on AMD creating the same 5800X 3D or 56 or whatever 3Ds. I would probably go to a 5500X 3D if you're like in a 3600 or 1700X type of AM4 socket right now, or AM4 processor. I'll probably go to that. Why? Because the 5500X 3D gets the same about probably about a 5600X or 56. I've been researching it a little bit, and Gamers Nexus watching our thing, but also reading about it. The 5500X 3D gets about almost the same as a 5600 non-X. It comes close to a 5800X. I mean, a 5600X. And processing power. But that's still, it's 6 core, 12 threads, folks. I have 8 core, 16 threads. I'm not using all 8 cores to play a game. I'm sorry, you're not. 6 cores is about as good as you're gonna get. Hell, there's people out there who are using Intel processors with 4 cores, 8 threads, or what they call it on Intel. I mean, people are still using what they got. An i7 700K is pretty decent to be playing games on. Now, is it it's going to be great processing? Probably not the latest titles, the greatest graphics card you got, but I know friends of mine who had a 2700X who got a 3090 with it. No, no, talk about a back alley type of thing. So that is the 50 and 59 3090 was doing all the heavy lifting. All the 27 to do is turn on and actually work. Because all my friend played was games that were requiring the GPU. Until you got a lower setting, like 1080 settings, and then you use more CPU power. But he played games 2K, 1080p, 2K, and went on to 4K after that. And of course, he upgraded to AM5 because before the bubble kind of burst, he went to AM5. He was very smart about his situation. He jumped on it day one and he realized he wanted to go day one. He waited, but about day one plus 15 or whatever you want to call it, day one plus about 15 months later, about a year later, he wanted to research more. He's the kind of guy that researches, guesses, second guess, researches again, buys it, and goes home and looks at it and guesses himself. Then puts it in, plays it for a while, and still guesses himself. He's that kind of guy. We're all that. I'm that way too myself. I second guess myself all the time like that because this is how, and that's how a lot of geeks like we are. Geeks people like us are. We second guess it all the time, even though we know what we're doing, we have an idea. But that's something that that you guys need to look at for yourselves. So W, you're out there watching this video because you told me to watch this video when you get a chance. Should you upgrade to DDR to AM5? No. At the current state, I would not do it. I would chuck that thought like a hand grenade and run the opposite direction because it's going to cost you probably more than what you pay for your graphics card. Told me you had like a 3080 or whatever, 3080, and you're going to go to probably 5070 eventually. I'll go look with that, trying to find one decent price. He had 38 Ti, 3080, what it was. Still a good graphics card, obviously. 38 Ti, if you think it's a Ti. So it's 12 gigs. That's good. Um, I would probably stay with that for a while longer, but go up to 5500X 3D. That way, you get X3D cache, but also you're giving a little long longevity before going to AM5. Like myself, I'm going to go AM5 too. I'm going to go AM5 eventually too as well. It's just if it's going to be DDR5 on Intel or DDR5 on AMD. Don't know. Jury's still out. I'm so processing processing the pros and cons of AMD, Intel versus AMD, and figuring out what the best ones are for me. Um, doesn't mean that one's worse than the other. Doesn't mean that I think Intel's garbage or AMD is the best thing since sliced bread. No, because AMD used to be the cheaper bargain bin, and Intel used to be great and game processors. Um, so I would stay where you're at. Upgrade to a 5500X 3D, or if you have a friend of mine or know somebody who's selling, like a PC, parts. They're getting rid of the PC and they're selling AM4 stuff. And we all have friends who upgrade and they don't usually they sell to friends stuff they have, the RAM, the processor like that. If you have a friend like that, because you told me you have people who do AM5, but who went to AM5 and they still may have their AM4 stuff. See, got processors they have. They got processors that's 3600 or 5600X or whatever, or 5000X. Ask how much you want. Ask how much they want for it, and if you trust them enough and you verify it's not damaged or any way, that might be an easier route for you to go to get something that you may want that's going to be a higher level, more pinnacle level. But I will go with 5500X 3D if you're going to go with. She said you had options to try to get a 5800X or 5700X that's no longer being sold, but you can get it through a friend or whatever you talked about. So that's cool and all, but I'll probably go if those avenues fail. And sometimes God closes the door, he opens the window. I know, and vice versa. Uh, Probably go 5500X or 5800XT that you can buy literally in Best Buy or online for about 200 something dollars, and it's still AM4. It's going to be a good processor, not probably not as fast as X3D version, but still enough where you play games. Because you did mention that your 1700 was a little long in the tooth when it comes to certain games you're playing. And that usually happens around this time, and you had the processor for almost over a decade now, practically. So it's been a long time. So it's congratulations to that processor. Put it in a museum somewhere because it need to be looked at and cherished, obviously. But I would probably go with that route: 5500X 3D or 5800XT. That way, you're still in the AM5. I mean AM4, but you're not spending with money. And so you talked about RAM too as well. RAM price is going up a little bit, so I would probably. You said you have 32. I'll probably stay 32. If you want 64, it's gonna cost you a lot more money. But I had 34. I have 4 sticks of DDR4, 8 gigs. You have 2 sticks instead of 8, 16. And it's pretty much you're gonna be on for a while. I mean, because right now RAMs you can get more, but you're gonna pay pretty much more for them. So just really, I'll probably go to processor first. And you told me you had like a thing, I think 32 or 3600 hertz. Processor will work well. You might notice an uplift where you don't have to worry about the process issues. So you had slowdowns. That could be because of the processor, not the RAM, really. Um, what I talked to you about on and off for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We talked. We texted each other. I would do something like that or W and try that out and see what happens. The processor, you might probably do BIOS updates, check BIOS also as well. That does help too. But the processor being so old as it is, I may not have any more BIOS updates for it. And if it does, you probably already have it already installed already. Like my 5800X, I already have mine installed already. So I would do that. I'll do that first. No. I make small upgrades in the processor. Then you probably notice a big difference in your rank here. We have 38 Ti, so you have good graphics card, obviously. The RAM seems to be decent, what you told me, and that right there is pretty interesting. So I would probably, once again, W, if you're watching this video later on, start off with the 5500X 3D or 5800X T. If budgeting, because you said you save up money and you have budget for a little spending money, so start there first. Obviously, get new thermal paste and stuff like that. Obviously, you don't know that already. You know that already. Um, you might need to change cooler if you're going 5800 XT. You might need an AIO or a better tower cooler than a stock cooler you have with the. As they said you had with it. So that or there's it. Then go from there. Then probably go from RAM later on down the line. But with a year or two, this bubble could burst. You'd probably be getting AM4, but I don't think it's gonna be happening in a year or two. I think probably in the next 24, 48 months, maybe 20, 24 to 36, 48 months. It's gonna be a long time, guys. This stuff ain't gonna end anytime soon. I don't believe. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But this is my stuff, my situation for you guys, and also for UW. Thank you for watching my video, guys. Thank you for taking time to watching a fat guy talk to you. I hope you guys have a great day, blessed day in the video. If you're brand new to my channel, like, subscribe, notification, ring that bell. If you're not brand new, you're welcome back. Hey, you're here, welcome back. My channel is open. You can come and go as you please. So if you subscribe one day, subscribe the unsubscribe next day, I ain't gonna chase you down. I'm too fat. I don't care. That's a joke. I'm not gonna chase you down. I'm not gonna. Oh my God, what are you leaving for? It's whatever. It's your business. But once again, if you guys are here, know yourself. I have over 991 videos. If you guys enjoy some fat guy rambling over the last 12 or 13 or 14 years. So thank you guys for the video. Thank you guys for being subscribed. Share the video so more people see it. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. God bless all you. Peace.